Hello and welcome to today's webinar session on social media and web capture collection methods for investigations. My name is Karen Hayworth and I'll be your host today. We'd like to thank our partners at SAT for inviting us here today and for the opportunity to present on X1 social discovery and collection methods for investigations. We're happy to be here and looking forward to today's session. With us today from X1, we have John Loaiza and Ashley Aranega. John Loaiza is an account manager for the X1 Social Discovery product. John works closely with the X1 customer base to inform and educate customers on the features and benefits of the X1 social media collection solution, with a key focus on customer needs and requirements. Ashley Aranega is a solution consulting manager for X1. Ashley successfully manages the customer journey from requirements to solution. She has extensive knowledge and expertise with the X1 social discovery solution and has worked closely with this product for over 7 years, including shaping and guiding the features for the last 7 releases. Today's agenda includes a brief introduction to X1, industry trends and best practices for effective social media evidence collection, an overview and some of the key benefits of X1 social discovery. We'll cover a few social media investigations use cases, including a product demonstration, and there will be also some time for Q&A at the end. And with that, I'd now like to turn things over to John Loaiza. John, over to you.
Great, thank you, Karen. And that was Karen Hayworth, who is responsible for marketing here at X1. Now, X1 was founded in 2003 by industry veterans in the digital investigation space. Our solutions range from X1 Search to social discovery that we're talking about here today, and our remote collections on demand. We've been awarded some 10 indexing awards for our indexing capabilities. And we have thousands of customers across, as you can see here, some of our marquee clients listed on the right-hand side of the screen. And we do like to point the fact that our roadmap is driven by the customers, by our clients. We'd love to hear from them, understand what's the best use cases that they have in regards to interesting topics that they want to bring or they want to see within our solutions. We definitely listen into what our customers have to say. Next slide, please. Now, why do we collect social media data? We want to make sure, in terms of the industry trends and best practices, that you want to avoid, as an investigator, you want to avoid that printed copy. It's insufficient to authenticate. And we help authenticate the social media data that we collect via all the different metadata that you'll see later on in the demonstration. So, we want to utilize technology for gathering social media and other internet evidence. We're going to help reduce the time and cost to your organization by properly collecting and searching through this social media evidence, be that social media websites such as like Facebook or Twitter, or of course other websites as well in terms of web capturing. And we want to utilize this metadata and the authentication to build a much stronger case. Now, when we created social discovery, we designed it for the investigative professionals to collect social posts, right? Be, again, wherever that website content is. It could be a single page, it could be an entire website. We could also incorporate different emails, webmail, YouTube videos, and other social media types, all within a single user interface. And we're supporting the simultaneous collection of content and metadata. And in the manner in which we collect the data, it's a legally defensible collections that preserve the chain of custody here. And it's all built upon X1's patented, proven fast as you type search technology, which will show you what that looks like once the information is indexed. Now, in terms of the streamlined user experience here, what we're looking to find, collect, filter, preview, and export. So in terms of finding things, you'll first point X1 to search exactly what it is that you're looking for, be that across multiple accounts, account through social media streams or websites. So think of, again, Facebook, Twitter, could be a company website, it could be LinkedIn. You could incorporate Outlook, Gmail, Yahoo emails, and any email service that uses IMAP as its backend, like Apple email. Second, once you've conducted the capture, you'll have the option to tag your collections and export a particular record if you'd like to share that with someone else, or you could sort through the information in a variety of different ways. Third, when you filter, as soon as you begin to type your keywords, you'll see the highlighted word or word matches from the selected collection. You can also conduct a full Boolean search as well. And if you come across a keyword or words that you'll need to search in additional collections, you can opt to create a safe as search term, which we can show you here in the demonstration. Fourth, the preview. You're going to preview the individual data that you just ingested into the application, or use the table view to preview a group of collections if you like as well. And fifth, when it comes to exporting, or creating a deliverable, you can export the data into a concordance load file, which then can be dropped into Relativity, a platform to review. You can create a CSV, a custom delimited, popular PDF, HTML, PST, or a website with clickable links as well. Now, when it comes to the different types of cases of where social discovery gets used, everything from the private sector to the public sector. So some of the examples that you see up here on the screen, insurance fraud, extremely popular. If someone's claiming, for example, that they were in an accident, but and they can't work, but what is social media saying? What are they posting? Are they showing that they're out running? Are they biking? Are they hiking? Are they maybe at a CrossFit? Maybe they're doing something that doesn't truly represent what they're claiming in terms of the insurance claim. It could be brand management. Is one company claiming that they have specific features that another company doesn't have, or maybe they stole some of those features to a certain extent. So that can be used in terms of that, or even with respect to intellectual property. And of course, HR investigations. Someone's doing something online that they shouldn't be, perhaps maybe against company policy. That can be used. Social discovery could be used to look into that. And then, of course, the public sector. Everyone from law enforcement reviewing criminal activities, seeing where they're commenting, who's retweeting, who's reliking those particular posts, perhaps finding out who these criminals are potentially interacting with as well. So widely used within the public sector at different government levels as well. Now, with respect to how social discovery works, in terms of the collections that are conducted, there's two ways from which we collect social media. So the first is, if you have the user's credentials, you can obtain all the data, including Facebook Messenger, Twitter, direct messages as well, the friends lists, and private information, right? The second method is, if you don't need the user's credentials, you can capture whatever's publicly facing. So whatever's on that screen, we can go ahead and capture that along with the metadata associated with it. With respect to YouTube, we have the capability to extract a single video and the comment page or full YouTube channel, including all the comment pages. And all these videos are going to be stored locally on your own computer, on your desktop in an MP4 format. So the videos can be playback from your machine, which is extremely useful should a user decide to pull their information out, should they decide to delete that video. If you already captured it, no worries, because we've already authenticated it and we have the associated metadata with it as well. Now, with our Twitter scanner, not only do we collect tweets, but if one inserts a tiny hyperlink in that tweet, we consider that as linked content. So we also archive and index that linked content. So if someone sends a tweet and they include a tiny hyperlink to a picture that has comments, that information becomes searchable as well. And for our web capture scanner, you have the following three options. You can conduct a single web capture, which is in a sense just give me that page. You can conduct a multi-web capture, where you can, if you like, upload a list of up to 2,500 URLs to capture or launch even a website crawl of a website. Now, the web capture feature also allows one to pull data of social media applications that we don't have a built-in scanner for. So I briefly mentioned LinkedIn, but you can also do Pinterest. You can go on the dark web. You can go on the Wayback Machine as well and collect from there. And our webmail scanners here. So This allows one to access private email accounts, be that AOL, Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, and of course IMAP as well. But you do have to have the credentials to access those emails. So now that you've collected these various different data sources, as I briefly touched on, social discovery is going to leverage our searching capability. So as soon as you begin to type in those particular keywords, you're going to be able to find that as fast as you type it. And Ashley will show you that in the demonstration. So in real time, as soon as you begin to type, you're going to minimize your results, minimize what was indexed, and find exactly what it is that you're looking for. Each keyword is going to receive its own hit highlight coloring, making that keyword very visible amongst all the content that you just collected. And that can be within a tweet, a post, a hyperlink, link content, web capture, and emails, of course. And you can even conduct a date range search. You can search by emojis. You can create custom descriptive tags for exactly what you've already gone collected. And then finally, when you're ready to create that deliverable, you have the option from various file formats, again, such as like a concordance load file, CSV, custom delimited, or very popular PDF. Now, when it comes to the examiner tools here, this MD5 hash that you see up here on the screen. So as I mentioned before, the way that we collect information is forensically sound and defensible. So you're going to find metadata that's associated with the collections, and we're going to include that MD5 hash. And as most of you likely know, of course, the MD5 hash, it's just a digital footprint that, as long as it doesn't change from the time that you captured it to the time you export it out, it just indicates that the data has been altered, and therefore it's a defensibility marker. And last slide here. So we're talking about, in terms of the key advantages, we're looking at the preservation, and the analysis, authentication of social media content in that legal defensible manner. In terms of the scalability, we can aggregate data from multiple sources in real time. So we can grab information from Facebook, we can grab information from Twitter, we can grab YouTube videos as well, as an example, in a highly scalable, case-centric manner. And when it comes to authentication, you can capture key critical metadata. We can provide key critical metadata, that MD5 hash values of the individual items, calculated upon, as you see here, captured and maintained throughout the report, which we'll show you in that final deliverable. And then the usability, you can perform broad unifying searches across multiple accounts, as I previously mentioned, social media streams and websites, all from a single interface. But with that, I'd like to turn things over to Ashley, and we'll jump right into the demonstration portion. Ashley?
Perfect. Thanks so much for the introduction, John. So now we're going to be transitioning over and taking a look at the live social discovery product. I'm going to be sharing my screen here, and we're going to be walking through the feature set available with social discovery and how that can be applied with some popular use cases that we're seeing today. So everyone should be able to see the social discovery product now pulled up on your screen. And what I wanted to take you through today is really an overview of the social discovery product offering. So to start off here, I always like to show our managed cases screen. And this is really just to highlight that social discovery is a case-centric software. So what that means is when you own a license of social discovery, as the investigator or as the analyst who is doing, these social media and web collections, you have the ability to create multiple cases within our tool. And within those cases, you can organize and you can create multiple collections from your web, email, and social media data sources. And that can be really helpful just because every case, might be different. Some cases may require only web captures, whereas other cases may be only social media. So this is going to really give you the flexibility to organize the data and structure it the way that you want to, and then also just keep everything sort of segmented based off of the particular project that you're working on. So today what we're going to be looking at is this test X1 case that I have created. Using our software, we don't cap the amount of cases that you can create or the amount of collections that you can do. So once you own a license, it is really up to you how often you use it, how many collections you want to do. You have complete control over that. And just to give some background, this is a local installation. So what that means is you basically control where the software goes and where your data goes, which a lot of our clients like to have control over where their data is stored. We have no visibility into what types of collections you're doing, so you will have complete confidentiality for any of these types of social media and web collections that you would be capturing. Now, within this case, we have two main areas where the end user would be working. So first we have our managed collections area here, and you'll notice we have available collections at the bottom. So our available collections, these are our built-in scanners that just make it very easy for you to collect data from these particular sources. So we have these collections broken up into three categories. We have our social media built-in scanners, which include Twitter, Tumblr, Facebook, and YouTube. With the built-in scanners, you are going to get item level capture, which I'll explain what that looks like. You're going to be getting metadata that's going to be coming directly from these sources. And so we'll take a look at what that metadata is and why it's important, as well as just a more direct integration. On the right-hand side, you'll notice we have some webmail scanning options. This is going to include AOL, Gmail, IMAP, Outlook, and Yahoo. And that is really for, if you have a need to do email collections. These all require credentials. So you would need to have that information in order to scan from these types of webmail platforms. We do have a lot of clients who may be, having access to somebody that they're working with, their own clients, for example, where they would have access to those credentials. And then lastly, we have our web capture. And if I hover over this, I'll notice that it allows me to capture from certain sources like Confluence, Instagram, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Reddit. This is really just an open-ended browser. So this is going to give you just direct integration to the web. It is a Chromium-based browser, and that's going to allow you to capture all different types of web data, be it social media or just straight web content, directly into your case and make that all, completely text searchable and also authenticated as well. So you'll notice under my managed collections, I do have already a few captures that I have performed, but I'll also be taking you through how we can set up new collections and how easy it is to actually use. So I'm going to start off actually on the social media side. We're going to dive right into Facebook. So whenever you're ready to start a new capture, you're just going to choose the icon that you want to get started with. In my case, I want to go ahead and capture from a Facebook profile. So here I'm just going to go ahead and I'll call this one test capture. So you can give this a name based off of the account that you might be targeting, based off of the Facebook page, group, or user profile. And now this is just going to take me to what we call our Facebook capture browser. This is our direct access basically to facebook.com. There's information about how to use this if you're new to the tool. And then from here, you can really use Facebook's built-in search functionality to search for a particular Facebook page, Facebook group, or Facebook user. If you have a URL to an account that you need to capture, you can also just paste that in here. But the idea is you navigate to the data that you want, and then Social Discovery is going to give you the tool to actually collect that data and to collect it in the most user-friendly way with as little manual work as possible. So if you needed to collect this type of data without Social Discovery, it would be very time consuming. It would be very manual process to go into each and every post, expand your comments, maybe take screenshots of it, which unfortunately those are not valid in many courts, as well as they're not able to be authenticated. But with Social Discovery, by using our software, we're going to give you features that are going to make the collection faster and easier, as well as validate the data and where it came from. So first, right now I am just choosing some auto settings that are available with Facebook. This is gonna auto expand comments as well as auto scroll a page for me. So I can go ahead and just choose the settings I want, click start, and then right now I'm no longer touching my mouse, but you can see that the product is working its way down the Facebook page. It is expanding the content automatically for me, so I don't have to, sit there and do any type of manual work like that. I could just let the capture process until it reaches the point that I want it to stop, or until it reaches the end of the profile. So it is giving me some information about how many posts have been expanded. I also have some information on the right-hand side here, so I can see where in the timeline it is. So I can see, okay, I've already captured back to 2019 here. If this is where I wanted to stop, I can go ahead and click complete capture. And then from that point, I would have everything that has already been collected saved to my collection. So this is the test capture here. And this is actually continuing to download the content. If I look up in the right-hand side, I can see that it is, there are 14 pages pending in the queue for download. So once that content is done downloading, I should be able to start to review my results by keyword searching or by filtering and sorting. So we'll be able to take a look at that. I'm actually going to minimize this for now, and then we can take a look at another example capture that I have performed here of a user profile. And this would be the same type of data, really. So we have the Facebook profile that I targeted, and then we have the individual posts here that have been collected. So I can see every single post will have its own unique record in my collection. And what's great about this is going to allow us to filter down the content and search it as well. So you might be looking for a particular keyword, or maybe you're looking for a particular name. Because we have the ability to search by particular posts, this is going to allow you to narrow down the content to only what's relevant. So we do give you the option to capture everything, but then we also provide you with the tools available to search and filter that data. So we just took a look at searching by keyword. which we'll go through more examples of. But if I switch my view here from tile view to table view, we can also see some additional columns for filtering down the data. And these columns are mainly coming from the metadata fields that we're able to capture in social discovery. So metadata is really just going to be additional data about the content that we're looking at, whether it's web, email, or social media. It will be coming directly from the source. And the point of it is to help authenticate where this came from. So on the Facebook side for user profiles, we can see some of the metadata fields that are able to be captured. So for example, things like the user ID, the post ID, the Facebook URL, the date created. These are all coming directly from facebook.com. We are also going to be calculating an MD5 hash, which is our authentication method to show that the data has not been altered, not in the way that a screenshot could be, because it is coming through our tool. We're authenticating it with that MD5 hash. That data can basically be validated at a later point. So all these metadata fields help authenticate your captures, but then they also allow you to do additional searching and refinement. So for example, we have a created time filter here. This is going to allow you to filter all of your social media content or all of your Facebook content by a particular date. You can search oldest to newest. You can use any of the preset date filters, or you can enter in your own date range. So for example, if I just wanted to say, show me content from 2020, I could just type in 2020 here, and within seconds, I can see all of these users' posts from only the year 2020, which is what I'm interested in. And you can also apply multiple search filters at a time. So I can search by 2020, which you can see that is highlighted here in our results pane. But I might also want to search an additional keyword for this. Maybe I want to search for a particular name. I can go ahead and check for any posts, maybe mentioning the person named Terry in the year 2020. I could type in that keyword, and now I can see, okay, for these two posts, this person, Terry, commented, it looks like, on these particular posts. So really help you find content that you might be looking for and that would otherwise be extremely hard to narrow down to and to get to. Once you have done some searching, we do have the ability to do custom tagging as well. If you look just above the preview pane where my mouse is, you can see some tags that I have created in the tool. And then we could take a look at how you might want to apply those in just a bit here. And then just to show you for the test capture that we ran, what that looks like. These are the posts that were captured from x1.com, or the X1 company Facebook page, I should say. So you can see all of the previews for each particular post. We'll have full content indexing on each item, as well as high-level metadata for the content. And then most importantly, this does become text searchable. So anytime I'm typing, you should be able to see those keywords become hit highlighted, and you should see the content narrowed down as well. So out of all of the posts that I've captured, I can see here there's only 3 that contain the word webinar, for example. So we're going to clear out of Facebook and want to show you how you can use Twitter capture and particularly, how we can apply it to use case application today. So here I'm going to go ahead and start Twitter collection, and then I can go ahead and name this. So what I'm going to be doing is a collection through Twitter Advanced Search, and I'm going to be searching Twitter data for content from Expo 2020. So I'm going to go ahead and name this collection Expo 2020. And then the same workflow is going to start to happen here. It's going to take me to twitter.com. I have information about how to use this if I'm new to the tool, and then I can navigate directly to Twitter here. One thing I will say is with the social media platforms, you will need to log in most cases in order to navigate through the platforms and to see data. So in my case, because I have already ran some captures, I haven't had to do that live, but I am logged into an Examiner account here. So as I mentioned, we're going to be doing some Twitter advanced searching. This is something that we have a shortcut to directly in our product. You can also just navigate directly to a Twitter profile if there is a particular profile that you want to go ahead and capture. But for our example here, we don't necessarily know yet what we want to collect. We just know that we want to maybe search a particular hashtag. So this advanced search is going to give me the ability to do that. So I'm actually going to search the hashtag Expo 2020. You can see some of the other options available on Twitter advanced searching. So you can do a combination of you can do a combination of keywords using an and search. So if you wanted to do multiple keywords at one time, you could do that. You can do an or type of search. Hashtag search is what we'll be looking at. And you can also narrow it down to specific accounts. So if you want to see, maybe what particular accounts are saying about this hashtag, you can type in those account names here and you'll be able to get results for that. There's some additional filtering options, and another one I like to point out is the date filter option. So this will allow you to look at historical Twitter data. So in the case where you don't want to see what people are talking about right now, if you wanted to see maybe results from a year ago or multiple years ago, you can actually set it up your date range, and then you can be able to search the data from that particular point in time. For our example, we're just going to keep it simple. We're going to do this hashtag search here. So I'm going to go ahead and click search there. And then what I should see is I should start to see content come up. This is obviously served from Twitter, so they're the one that are providing these results here. I can search people, I could search latest, which is just like the chronological order of anybody who is tweeting about Expo 2020. So if I look here, I can see, there's probably just, a host of random accounts that are tweeting about this. If I wanted to see what the top tweets are for anybody mentioning Expo 2020, I can just use this filter here. So now this is taking me to view some results, the top results here for this hashtag. And let's say that upon my advanced search, I've come across the official Expo 2020 Twitter account. I can now navigate to this account and I can use X1 to capture the content from here. So the great thing about this is I can go ahead and still use all of the automated features that we have available. So we have our auto scrolling that I've shown you. And on the Facebook side, we have something similar on the Twitter side. So I just selected an option here to automatically scroll the Twitter page, the Twitter profile for me. And as it's scrolling, it is going to start to download and parse out the tweet content. So that's really helpful because we're going to be capturing each tweet individually. And for each tweet as well, we're going to be collecting the metadata similar to what we saw on the Facebook side. And we're also going to be capturing linked content. So linked content would be any content in a tweet where a user is sharing a URL link. So the link could be to a blog post, it could be to a news article, it could be to a video or another social media platform. We will follow that link and we'll attempt to download the content. And that's just going to give you the most comprehensive type of collection. So when you have your capture, you won't only just see a URL to the data. You will actually take that a step further and we'll download the URL. So I can see it working here. It's going through the additional pages and downloading, and it's starting to parse tweets from those particular pages. So while that's happening, I can actually go into my collection. I can start to see some of the content coming in. Let me go to my Twitter collection here. So this is the new one that we just created, Expo 2020. And then if I click on tweets here, I should start to see the Twitter data coming in for me. So we have a few tweets already indexed. And with the tweets, as I mentioned, we'll get each one individually. We'll get linked content. So you can see here the body of the tweet, and then you'll see the linked content that is associated with that as well. And then you'll notice that even if there is content in different languages other than English, we can index that as well. And we can also search by that too. So we do have, I would say like multi-language support for or through Social Discovery. The interface is English-based, but if the data is non-English, we will capture it in whatever the native format that is shown, as you see here. So that's not a problem for us. And then you can see some examples of where linked content was captured. So here we have a particular tweet from Dubai Tourism, and then we can see that they shared a link. In this case, it was a bit.ly link, and it looks like it was to the official Expo 2020 website. So we were able to actually follow that web page and download it. So not only do you get the tweet, but you also get that linked content that we were talking about. And that linked content also does become text searchable as well. So if you're looking for particular keywords, you will see them in the tweet body as well as in your linked content. So you can see that highlighted in both areas there. That's going to give you a very deep level searching capability. And then just to take a look at the metadata here, the metadata is going to be unique to each platform. So the fields will be slightly different just depending on what we're looking at, in this case, Twitter. So you'll see things like Twitter handle. You'll have information about how many times the post was favorited, retweet information, mentions, hashtags. All of that is going to be automatically captured from each and every individual tweet. And then the same concept applies as far as the searching and filtering. Once you have the data captured, you can use our additional search columns to filter the data. So for example here, I have a bit of a mix of tweets from different accounts. If I wanted to see maybe tweets from a specific account, I can go ahead and type in the name of the profile, the Twitter handle that I want to refine by, and I can see instantly only the tweets coming from this particular Twitter handle here. So that's one way that you can use some of the filtering available. All right, so now that we've taken a look at Twitter and Facebook, those are some of our most popular scanners. I also want to take a look at web capture. So web capture, as we mentioned before, web capture can really be used to collect from a variety of resources. You can collect from social media, you can collect from just standard websites. And one way that we have seen this applied is to search through Reddit, which is a social media platform. And in particular, the example that I want to show is doing a web crawl of a Reddit thread that is specifically focused on cryptocurrency. So in this particular sample here, I have a Reddit channel that has gotten a lot of notoriety over the past year. The channel is Wall Street Bets, and this is a particular Reddit channel where there's over 3.5 million users here, and they actually discuss trading ideas and strategies for the US stock market. So here there's plenty of content where they're discussing, particular stock market strategies, and cryptocurrency has, become very popular over the last several years as well. And doing a web crawl of something like this Reddit channel, this would allow you to actually easily search through all of that content. Maybe you're looking for particular keywords, particular names of stocks or companies. That would allow you to do that in a much more user-friendly way. If we go just directly back to the Reddit thread here, there is a search through Reddit, but this only really allows you to search for particular channels. It doesn't really allow you to search down to the thread level, down to the comment level, where actually most of the discussion would be taking place, and where people are talking about, these certain strategies that may influence the stock market. So here I'm just giving my collection a name, and I want to actually do a website crawl. You'll notice there are two other options here: single page snapshot and bulk import. Single page snapshot you can do if you just want to capture one URL at a time. You can have control basically over which web page you capture that way. We also have a bulk import, which will allow you to import multiple links at once. You can paste in your links, or you can import a text file, and Social Discovery will download each of those links that you have listed. And then the example I'm going to show is a web crawl. And web crawl is really designed to do like a full website preservation. For Reddit, it is a very big social media platform. So we wouldn't recommend to just crawl the entire Reddit website. That would probably crash your computer, but it can be used to do a more targeted collection of a particular Reddit profile. So in this case, I have the profile loaded up here, and then I can target my web crawl. I wanted to only crawl the content within this particular channel here. So I can go and set this up. You can also review the links beforehand if you're curious. Like, for example, I am able to go directly to the Reddit profile from a browser. And if I want to see, maybe the URL structure, I can go ahead and take a look at that, and I can see that, all of these additional posts will be under the URL that I want to basically feed to X1. So once I have my page loaded up, I can go ahead and hit start crawl. And this is going to give me some more features that I can go ahead and customize. So these are my web crawl settings. I have just my start URL. This is the base of the collection where I want it to start. I can choose how many layers I want to go. For this particular type of crawl, I might only want to go 2 layers just because I know that I only want to get like the conversations or the Twitter, the Reddit threads from this first page. I don't really want to go too deep into, you know, other Reddit areas that may not be relevant. I kind of just want to stay within this particular profile here. So I may choose to just go 2 layers there. And then there's other ways that you can filter your capture, your crawl, I should say. You can filter the URL. You can do keyword filter. So this will allow you to search by keyword pre-collection. Maybe you're looking for the word stock or cryptocurrency, or naming in particular cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, something like that. You can enter in your keywords there. And then there are some options that are going to be default that will allow you to get things like embedded YouTube and Vimeo videos, as well as embedded file URLs. We can grab those during the web crawl. So I'm actually going to run this in the background. I'm going to run this web crawl in the background. And that way, while this is capturing, I can move on and I can do other things within the product. So if I go out here, this is my web crawl that I just started. This should be scanning, so I will start to see results coming in, but I'm gonna let it run for a little while here before I actually start to review it. And then we can take a look at what that data looks like there. While that's happening, I also have some other, let's see. I also have some other samples of different web captures that I have performed. So this one, for example, is just a web crawl of our X1 website. And this is just to show you that with the web crawler, you can do full website preservation. So this is the x1.com homepage here. This is the very first link. And then if we look at each of the URLs, the sub URLs, these would basically be all of the links off of the homepage. And then we would continue to crawl the different layers of the website until we have preserved the entire website, or until, you know, we've reached the parameters of whatever custom settings that you have configured. But you'll notice here, as I'm going through each and every URL, this is staying within the x1.com domain. Maybe a little bit hard to see the URL structure here, but these all start with x1.com. So it is designed to stay within the domain. It is not, you know, going to jump off to another website and then start crawling, you know, the whole World Wide Web. This will truly just do a capture of the designated website that you have set up here. So that's an example of that. This then makes the entire website fully text searchable. So if you needed to search for particular keywords here, multiple keywords, you can do that, and it will search all of the content within the page as well. And then let's see, I think I have a LinkedIn capture just to show you a sample here of a different type of social media. So LinkedIn, again, and with web capture in general, anything that has a web interface, we can if you can navigate to it, we can try to capture that. So we do often get asked if we support, other social media such as LinkedIn, Pinterest, Instagram, and even if we don't have the direct scanner available for that, you can use the web capture in order to get data from those sources. And the data that you capture through web capture is just as good as getting it through our direct scanners. You're still going to have the entire page, or I should say all of the content preserved. So you can see here, this was the LinkedIn profile. I have the whole profile completely captured in HTML format. I also have additional preview options. So if I wanted to look at the PNG, there is a saved PNG. There is a PDF option if I wanted that in PDF. We pull all of the source code for all of these web pages, so that's completely text searchable and helps authenticate the data. And then lastly, there's an MD5 summary, and that again is our hashing method that we use. So those are some examples of the different types of content that you can pool with our web capture. And once all this data is in your case, as you see, I have content from multiple sources. We do also give you the ability to search against all of that content in one area. So if I scroll up to the very top, we have all social media and all index items. This is going to allow me to search against everything in my case here. So everything from Twitter to Facebook, web data, even YouTube videos I have captured. I can search against everything at one time. So maybe I'm looking again for the word social media. I can go ahead and type that in. And I still have 507 items, it looks like, that contain the keyword social and media. And in my entire case, I have almost 900 items. So if I scroll through the results here, you can see I have a big mix of data. I have some Twitter, I have some web. If I scroll even further, I probably have some Facebook, etc. So you could refine this even further if you want to. And maybe we'll add another keyword here. So I'm going to add the word CNN or the company name CNN, and I can now see only social media results mentioning CNN. So in this case, I've narrowed it down from 500 now to 13 items. As we talked about, you do have the ability to do some custom exporting or custom tagging, I should say. So I have my tag names here. If I wanted to go ahead and tag these items for export, I can go ahead and apply that tag. And then I'll see that automatically popped up here. That can come in handy as you continue to add collections to your case. And this number continues to grow in terms of the number of items that you've collected. You can always go back to your tagged items here. By entering the tag name, I can see I have a total of 18 items that are tagged. So I have the ones that I had tagged now, and then any previously tagged items would be available there too. And then the great thing about that is that's going to allow you to export out just like a custom data set. So with social discovery, you can really kind of customize it to your needs. If you want to export out an entire profile, you can absolutely do that. You can export out everything that you've captured for a particular account. If you want to filter the data first, you can also filter that the way, like in a similar way to what I did with the tag. So in this case, we're filtering by my tag export, and I can go ahead and choose to export out only these particular items. We have several output options available for exports. So these are the formats. We have concordance, which is going to be a load file format that can be imported into review platforms such as Relativity, Brainspace, any type of platform that accepts a DAT load file. You can use this format. We also have CSV and custom delimited, PDF, which I'll bring up a sample of. We have HTML, PST for your webmail collections, and then we have a website export that can be used for web crawls. And the web crawl that will basically give you an offline local version of the website that you can browse through. So I'm actually going to bring up a sample export for us to look at. Maybe I'll bring up a couple of those. And while that is happening, I would love to invite you guys to ask any questions about social discovery. You can use the Q&A portion of your Zoom console to submit your question, and we will be taking a look out for those to see any questions. So I will invite you guys to type in your question. It looks like we already have a couple. And while you're entering those, I'm going to bring up some examples of what our export looks like in social discovery. So since we talked about Reddit and we talked about, some cryptocurrency examples, I'll go ahead and bring up a sample Reddit export that I have, and this is a web capture export. So we can see the Reddit thread here. There's going to be the exact URL that was captured, number of pages, and the preview of all of the comments within this post, which will also become text searchable. So in this case, this is about a 66-page PDF. This was all captured with X1. And if I wanted to search for particular keywords here, I can go ahead and do that. And all of the exports from our tool are going to be fully text searchable. So here I can go through each and every place where this particular keyword might be mentioned. If I scroll through the bottom of the page, I will be able to see some of the metadata about this, such as the URL, when it was captured, the MD5, etc. But that is just a sample web capture. And then I'll go ahead and bring up a sample Facebook here. These are going to be extracted text files. And then I have my main PDF sample here. And this is going to be a user profile content. So I can see each social media post, each Facebook post here will essentially have its own page associated with it, its own preview, and this content will be fully text searchable, and it will have metadata as well. You'll see each metadata will have a matching document ID to the preview. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the product up in case we need to show something, and I'm going to read the first question that was asked. So the question is, some media posts are not available to view in all regions. So if we extract the post with social discovery, can we view that media on the solution? And can we detect the location of the person who made the post and whether they use VPN or not? So that's a great question. There's actually multiple questions loaded into that one. So the first thing I will say is that with social discovery, basically we can capture whatever you're able to navigate to and whatever you can view from your browser. So depending on your region and where you install this to, this would be a local install, as I mentioned at the beginning. So maybe perhaps like if you are restricted to viewing certain content within the region that you're in, we wouldn't be able to capture that because you're not able to navigate to it based off of the location that you're in. If you're able to navigate to the content though, and you can see it from your browser, once you download it, it is already preserved. So even if you share this export, or if you share this content with somebody to review, even if that content might be blocked from their location, because you basically have a copy of it, a native copy, you should be able to review it. They should be able to review it, so they wouldn't be subject to the same type of restrictions. And then as far as detecting location of a person and whether they use VPN or not, unfortunately, that is not something that is typically available within the metadata for the social media content. So we will pull in metadata that is going to help authenticate, but typically that is not going to give you the location information or VPN. You can see some of the main metadata fields that we're able to get. I'll just kind of read some of these off again, but we get things like body of the post, date created, name, any links that were shared on the post, tags, retweet information, mentions, Twitter handle, things like that. Typically, the location is not readily available from the post itself. So if you go to this post on Twitter, you won't see the location details. So therefore, X1 doesn't capture it because it's not available. So that's what I will say to that. I have one or two more questions that I might answer before we finish off here. Let's see. One question is, can you capture videos posted on Twitter? The answer to that is yes, we can. So with Social Discovery, we can capture embedded videos, including YouTube and Vimeo hosted videos. So if there are any tweets that contain links to those, we will follow them and we will download the videos in MP4 format. And then another question, can X1 collect deleted posts on Facebook? What if a post has been deleted after collection has been pulled? So this is a little bit similar to sort of like the restricted question, but also different. So again, if you're able to capture the post before it's deleted, it will be 100% preserved. It will be saved to your hard drive. You'll have a copy of it. If the post was deleted before you're able to capture it, then unfortunately it's gone. It's no longer available, and therefore X1 can't get it. But just to kind of reiterate, if this particular profile here, Brandon Pearson, maybe tomorrow he goes and deletes his profile, I still have a copy of all of the content that he had posted, before he took his profile down, or maybe before he went private. So even if he does change any content after the fact, I will have the copies of the data captured in native format, and I will also have all of the metadata to back up where the collection came from, what profile was captured, and everything like that. So that's a great thing about using Social Discovery, and why this type of social media and web data should be collected using this type of product. Okay, so that is going to round us out with the questions and the demonstration. I know we're a few minutes over, so thank you guys for hanging on here. And I will pass this back to Karen, and we can display some contact information.
Great. Thank you so much, Ashley. And thank you, John, for that great demonstration and presentation. And thank you all for your questions as well. We've got some contact information for X1 up there on the page. So please feel free to reach out to us at sales@x1.com with any questions or further information regarding the X1 Social Discovery Solution, and visit our website at x1.com. We wanted to make sure we thank everyone for attending today. Thank you all for your time and your questions. Thank you, Ashley and John, for your presentation. And thank you to SAT for inviting us here today. We've really enjoyed presenting with you today. All right, have a great rest of your day, everyone.